In this update, I'm going to give you the very latest information on the upcoming ice storm with heavy snowfall for the Great Lakes and the Northeast. We're also talking about a series of significant snowstorms and ice storms across these regions. Each of these winter storms could potentially deliver up to a foot or more of snowfall and several inches of ice. With that being said, here's a look at the latest NAM 3-kilometer model. This is a mesoscale model that I like to use for the next 48 to 60 hours. What we're looking at covers the Great Lakes, the Northeast region, and the Ohio Valley, and it's valid for tonight, Wednesday into Thursday. The model shows where we can expect freezing rain, rain, or snow. The different colors illustrate these variations. At 9 p.m. tonight, there will be a lot of freezing rain over central Indiana, southern Ohio, portions of West Virginia, and far western Maryland. This pattern will escalate, even reaching portions of northern Illinois. Now, let's shift to tomorrow morning for your commute. By the overnight hours around 6 a.m. on Thursday, you can expect some decent snow. It's going to be an interesting system with many areas starting off with snow that transitions into sleet and then freezing rain, a true winter mix. In New Jersey, for example, you'll see snow, freezing rain, and sleet during your morning commute. In Pennsylvania, whether you're in Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, or Erie, you'll likely experience freezing rain initially, which may then turn to rain as the system progresses. The forecast even shows a brief period of rain after the precipitation as temperatures warm enough for that transition. Meanwhile, the Northeast will continue to see a good amount of snow, with Maine, New Hampshire, and Vermont expected to get some solid snowfall from this system. That covers storm number one, but there are more storms on the way. Believe me when I say there will be a lot of intense snowstorms coming. This is just the first in a series. Looking at the snowfall amounts for the Northeast from storm number one, we're expecting anywhere from 2 to 4 inches of snow in most areas. Although this system isn't a huge snow producer overall, higher elevations such as the mountaintops in Vermont might see about a foot of snow accompanied by strong gusty winds. Now let's discuss the freezing rain. This is where we run into a lot of problems. We'll use the national blend of models because it gives us a more accurate ice accumulation forecast. Essentially, this blend of all the models, our super ensemble forecast, shows that over central Ohio, we can expect anywhere between about 1/10 and maybe 1/4 of an inch of ice. In Pennsylvania and portions of West Virginia, Northern Virginia, and Maryland, anticipate similar amounts between 1/10 and 1/4 of an inch. Please take note, there could be a glaze of up to a few hundredths of an inch of ice in New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, southern New Hampshire, Connecticut, Massachusetts, and even Rhode Island, including New Jersey. Keep that in mind for your morning commute as slick roadways are anticipated. Over the northern part of Illinois, you're looking at about a glaze of a few hundredths of an inch of ice, which also applies to areas around Detroit. There will be some ice, but especially in the area I circled in black on the forecast, you're looking at the most accumulation. Now, regarding sleet accumulations, this is essentially ice falling from the sky in the form of ice pellets, not to be confused with hailstones. We're expecting anywhere between about 1/10 and 1/2 an inch of sleet accumulation on the ground, on streets, and on other surfaces. This non-damaging ice can still lead to power outages, especially when the added weight of sleet compounds the situation. Across northern Indiana, northern Ohio, and southern Michigan, expect about 1/10 of an inch of sleet accumulation. So there will be some dicey travel conditions on Thursday or from Thursday into Friday across the Northeast and the Great Lakes. Now that we've covered storm number one from Thursday morning, get ready. More insane snowstorms are coming all the way through early Friday morning for the Great Lakes and the Northeast. It's a good idea to start focusing on the extended forecast for the next couple of weeks because most models are honing in on multiple intense snowstorms, especially for the Northeast. It's looking really bad, folks. We're looking at feet of snowfall, a lot of ice, and a lot of sleet in some areas. Along with that, colder air will occasionally move in from the north, accompanied by heavy rainfall over the Ozarks and the Appalachians. In short, a stormy pattern is headed your way over the next couple of weeks. Wow, let's look at the European model for Saturday morning, which marks the timing for storm number 2. Follow along here. Storm 2 is coming this weekend into the Northeast and the Great Lakes. It starts in the high plains with heavy snowfall anticipated over the Dakotas as well as Minnesota. Keep that in mind. We're expecting light to moderate snowfall for Saturday morning. The good news is that not many people commute on weekends, so it shouldn't be too big of a deal, but there will still be some snow. In addition, rainfall is expected, which could lead to another disaster of heavy ice accumulations over the northern Ohio Valley. When we move into Saturday afternoon on February 8th for the Great Lakes, the system will become more dynamic, heavier snowfall on the northern side, heavier rainfall on the southern side, and anything in between will be problematic. We're talking about significant ice across northern Indiana and northern Ohio. The model has consistently shown that this system will be both strong and impactful, which is why I'm including it in today's update. Then things get even worse by Sunday morning on February 9th. Look at how heavy the snowfall is projected to be, especially in the New England area where the snow will be really intense. This includes upstate New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, Connecticut, and even parts of Massachusetts. Notice all the pink on the map. That represents freezing rain. For example, downtown New York is expected to receive some snow, but the more destructive weather will follow. This is a heavily populated area, and the impacts are expected to be severe, really bad, in about 3 to 4 days. As the system continues, you can see that New York City might just barely escape the worst of it, but it's a close call. To the north, the heaviest snowfall continues, and the system is expected to exit by Sunday night or even by the evening of February 9th, leaving everyone dry. But guess what? There's more to come. It just keeps building. By Monday, another system will develop, bringing more snow and ice in the same areas. This time, the system will be positioned a little further south as colder air advances. It's going to be a nasty, active week ahead for a lot of people in the lower 48 states, as well as the mid-Atlantic and the Northeast. On Tuesday morning, February 11th, and then into Wednesday early morning, your commute will again be affected. The same areas, New England and the mid-Atlantic, will see more heavy snowfall and ice. Areas that have already been hit by one storm will now be hit by a second, with a third storm arriving early to mid next week, about 7 days from now. Meanwhile, for California and Nevada, expect stormy conditions with more rain and high elevation snow. It's a really active weather pattern for the middle of February. For the Northeast, that system is nearly a done deal, but Southern California is expected to receive some good rainfall. Fingers crossed on that for Wednesday, February 12th. Then by February 13th and 14th, right around Valentine's Day, it's not going to be a day for romantic strolls unless you enjoy snow. The Northeast will get more ice and more snow, and another system is developing across the northern tier. This will continue to bring impulses of snow and ice across the Northeast and portions of the Great Lakes. That system should move through by the end of next week. Keep in mind, this forecast extends nearly 10 days out, so be cautious. Sometimes I go beyond the 10-day forecast when I'm confident about an active pattern, as many model runs suggest. For example, on February 14th and 15th, there's another look at an ice storm for the Midwest. There are storm after storm after storm. This is storm 4 or 5. I lost count. There are just so many systems developing in the lower 48. One of these systems could be the gold medalist of worst impacts. I say that not to celebrate a gold medal storm. We don't want it to be that way, but this one is set to produce some of the heaviest freezing rain accumulations in a long time. I'm referring to data from the Euro model that goes beyond the 10-day forecast. In the medium range forecast, looking out to February 16th and 17th, this could be a really big system. It seems like it's storm after storm, and perhaps even beyond that, another system could develop. It just doesn't stop. Now, turning to the GFS model, it shows similar trends. There's storm number 2 moving from Pennsylvania into the Northeast, bringing sleet, freezing rain, and snow to New York City and upstate New York. This system will have moved through by Monday morning, so your morning commute should not be affected then. Additionally, there might be some snow and freezing ice accumulations across central Virginia, not West Virginia, but the Virginia State area near Norfolk and Newport News. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like this video, hit the subscribe button, and stay tuned for my next update. I'll keep you protected before and after the storm.